Hello and welcome, guys. We're here today for our box office predictions that
Yep.
we said we'd be back.
Yep.
Here we are. Um, it's all summer. We decided not to do August.
Uh, Mostly because all of the big August releases don't even have trailers yet. I always like to get a first look at each movie to gauge some kind of personal opinion to help figure out where to go with it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, yearly box office predictions, summer edition, I suppose.
Summer edition.
Sorta summer edition. We'll get into that real quick. But yeah, so going through the our handpicked choices of summer movies, not all the summer movies, but most of the major releases or the ones on our radar. And one thing we didn't address in our previous entry was that pretty much every season that we do these, they end up switching something around. Like with our last one, what were there two movies? The Cloverfield Paradox, aka God Particle, and then New Mutants that were no longer on the release schedule. They bumped New Mutants all the way the next year. So our predictions on those are null and void, no longer acceptable, and
Did I read somewhere that the reshoots with New Mutants were adding a different character, a completely new character to the movie?
all I read were was that they were adding character, like maybe more character moments to make you feel something for the people you're watching.
Okay. So if they're adding a
I
completely different
never
character, I was like, yeah.
I never read an actual article. I just saw the headlines. But
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Off subject.
Anywho, yeah. So with the movies we're discussing right now, we're hoping that they're still coming out when they say they will be. But yeah, that just the last month there have been so many switcheroos.
Yeah, hopefully
And
all the switcheroos are done by now. There's been so many already.
surely, because yeah, we're just a couple months away from the summer start. But yeah, a couple movies that we were going to address that are no longer in the summer season got pushed back or something or other. But yeah, to start off, the big news for us was that for Marvel, their standard has been to kick off the summer season. Like ever since Iron Man in 2008, there's been a Marvel movie, whether it's MCU or like an X-Men or a Spider-Man movie.
Spider-Man 2007.
Oh yeah, yeah, since Spider-Man 3.
I just looked it up because
Uh-huh.
2006 was Mission Impossible
Yeah.
that weekend. So
That was the last movie to not be a Marvel movie to kick off that first weekend of May slot. But yeah, so ever since Spider-Man 3, there's been a Marvel movie on the first weekend of May to kick off summer. And that's the way it was going to be with Avengers Infinity War. So business as usual. And then 2 days ago, they announced, hey, you know what, guys? You're our fans. We love you so much. We want to show appreciation to the fans. So, you want it a week early? We're going to give it to you a week early at the last weekend of April, which is a big move. The 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 last major release to come out on the last weekend of April was Fast 5, which came out a week before Thor in 2011. And yeah, that took the April weekend and record and crushed Thor at the box office. But unlike that, right now we'll see, waiting to see if any studio reacts to Avengers move and
surely they wouldn't. I mean, it's still close
uh-huh.
enough.
But because yeah, now it gives it what, 3 weeks to breathe until Deadpool comes out, but I'm just waiting to see if something's gonna, hey, there's an empty space of 3 weeks. But yeah, it's in between Avengers and Deadpool, so do you want to move your movie in there? I wouldn't. But yeah, so now there's no big movie opening on the first weekend of May. Except, of course, the second weekend of Avengers will still be making a gold mine. So, yeah, it's that was very surprising for me that I never saw that coming. So now Avengers isn't a summer movie. It's coming out in April. So yeah, when wondering what the biggest movie of the summer was going to be, everyone would have said Infinity War. But now it's like it's kind of a toss up between 3 or 4 movies for me. So we'll jump into that and see what we think, I guess.
Yeah. And one thing I was going to say about Avengers is that since it didn't have an official, really nice poster, researching, I ran across some fan art that I thought was pretty nifty. Do you ever see those neon fan art with like the shapes around the characters?
Yeah, I don't know which one you're talking about, but I've probably seen it. I've seen a lot of that that's been floating around, and that there have been a few like kind of painting hand drawn posters released from Marvel too, like at the cons and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that's why we shown in the background those neon character posters.
Okay.
But okay, so what we're going to do again is I'll say all my 3 opening weekend, domestic total, and worldwide gross, and then you'll say yours. And we'll have them somewhere on the screen. So I didn't change mine. I had my Avengers numbers set before.
Me too.
Black Panther came out. And I didn't change them after because I was like, I don't know.
Yeah. So now let's address that. So Black Panther is crushing it. I mean, destroying the box office. Last weekend it had the second biggest second weekend ever, like beating any other superhero movie, any other movie except for Star Wars Force Awakens, which yeah, that's the biggest movie of all time. So to be second behind that is a big deal. But yeah, so before Black Panther came out, everyone thought, yeah, sure, comparing Black Panther to Infinity War is going to make more money easy. Now, I'm not so sure. Like, yeah, that's the big question. Because Black Panther's on track. I'd be shocked if it made less than the first Avengers, which would make it the biggest superhero movie ever, which is crazy, at least here in the U.S.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting it to match it overseas because it hasn't been quite that big yet. But yeah, anyway, just so yeah, a very unexpected turn of events.
So I just have no idea, really. I mean, these are predictions anyway, but no one has any idea what the box office. I'm guessing a opening weekend of 198.
Okay, so less than Black Panther.
Less than Black Panther. A U.S. total of 510.
Okay.
And a worldwide of 1,550,000,000.
Okay. And so I'll be bigger than you on all accounts because normally I'm a little gutsier than Tucker. That most of the time he'll play it safe while I'll try to gun it for the bigger breakout successes, trying to have bragging rights for for calling those out. But like last year, I I wanted to predict a $300 million gross for it, but I didn't because I was like, that's too far fetched. But I think it'll happen, but I didn't put it on paper, so can't make it official. But I was like, oh, I think it could, but I went a lot lower, and yeah, saw how that turned out.
And
But
you guessed way bigger for Black Panther than me, even though yours weren't even reaching what it
uh
ends
huh,
up reaching.
yeah, it flew by my predictions in days. I mean, your overall like U.S. total for Black Panther, it made that opening weekend, right? Didn't you guess
I
200?
may, yeah, mine may have just been flat 200
Uh-huh.
domestic total.
But yeah, Black Panther, like I thought it could go bigger, but I was scared to to predict. I never would have predicted anything as big as it was. Not bigger than Avengers for sure. But yeah. Anywho, so I'm going 225 for opening weekend, which would make it the second biggest opening weekend after Star Wars. A 595 US total, which would be less than the first Avengers, and I'm sure less than what Black Panther's going to make. I would not be surprised if it made more, just being a little cautious. But then a 1.615 billion dollar worldwide gross, which would make it the biggest superhero movie worldwide. Yes, those overseas grosses, like China loves the Avengers movies. Black Panther hasn't opened in China yet, so we'll see how big that does. But I'm not expecting it to be as big as like Civil War, or the other two Avengers. But we'll see about that. But yeah, before we go into the rest of the May releases, um, when I was getting my list ready before the Avengers release date change, I had noticed a little bit of trivia that so I double checked the numbers. It still amazes me. So there's only been 1 month where more than one movie has opened to 100 million or more. That there's never been any other time where like two movies made more than 100 million on a weekend in any given month, except for 2007, where you had Spider-Man 3, Shrek 3, and Pirates 3. That's looking back, that's insane that those three movies opened all in the same month. But yeah, like over 150 for Spider-Man, over 120 for Shrek, and like 116 for Pirates on Memorial Day. And there's never been any other month where there's even been two 100 million openers. So yeah, putting this list together, I guess mild spoilers for things to come, but I just figured there would be no way that wouldn't happen again in May when you've got Avengers, Deadpool 2, which the first Deadpool was huge. The first one went way over 100, and then Star Wars Solo, which yeah, we've seen how how that's turned out so far for this new wave of Star Wars movies, and this is the first one to since they revitalized the franchise with Disney that has opened in summer instead of December. So yeah, I figured that's bound to happen again, and it's gonna be yeah, the second time that there were three big weekends or 100 million weekends in May. But now Avengers is an April release, so that's not gonna happen. Not the three, but yeah, I still see no way we're not gonna have two. And we'll talk more about that going forward too, about how that might happen again very soon. But okay, mild box office geek out there. Just, I don't know what it is. I love box office numbers. I just go through all the lists on Box Office Mojo, and it just amazes me. I don't know what it is. Any other stats or numbers, I could care less about. But it's box office, man.
Yeah. Next in May
Mm-hmm.
is Deadpool 2, another one that they moved to May. It wasn't recently,
But only like a month ago or so,
yeah.
I believe.
And it's still waiting for an official title.
So what it looks like, I believe, since the whole thing about Deadpool is his cheeky sense of humor, and I believe for now it's looking like the official title is going to be the untitled Deadpool sequel, because they love the meta humor, poking fun at itself, and like, yeah, I find that clever but kind of stupid too. Just because
Kind of like Deadpool.
That's my opinion on Deadpool in a nutshell. Yeah, so I guess it works perfectly. But there hasn't been an official poster with that title or anything. Most people just call it Deadpool 2, so that's what I'll always stick with. I'm never calling it that because
It's mouthful.
uh-huh. But if they want it to be like the side title, like Deadpool 2, aka the untitled Deadpool sequel or whatever, I'm fine with that. But yeah.
Yeah, this one was difficult because, again, it's the first one had a lot of buzz, so much buzz, and it was advertising itself as a Valentine's Day movie,
Mm-hmm.
and that apparently sold incredibly well somehow. I guess I don't know. I'll never understand that, but so I didn't guess as much as the first one.
Sure. I would not be surprised if it made considerably less than the first one. But yeah. So get into your numbers.
Opening weekend of 120, total of 335,
Okay.
and worldwide of 795.
Okay. Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I was debating between that and going a bit higher. Yeah, so opening weekend, I'm for now saying a big opening. A 120 like you wouldn't surprise me at all. But I'll go 158 at the moment because people love Deadpool. It wouldn't surprise me at all if the opening weekend is insane, but then it ends up making less than the first one. In the US, I'm going a little less with 357. The first one made like 363 or something like that. And then not too far from your worldwide with 805. But yeah, a smaller weekend wouldn't surprise me at all because it doesn't seem to be getting quite as much online buzz as the first one did.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I just figured the fans would run out opening weekend and then it wouldn't quite hold as well, so we'll see.
And it being kind of, I think there's several comparisons to this series, comparing it to the Shrek series.
Yeah.
That it was a competitor, a more edgy competitor to a genre, like, because it's first Shrek was competing with Disney,
Mm-hmm.
which was, this one's still competing
And blatantly
with Disney.
making fun of Disney too,
Yeah.
and Deadpool's kind of doing the same thing. With...
Yeah, making fun of the MCU, or I mean, being
just superhero movies in general.
yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I actually just threw together multiples of if it made what compared to Shrek 1 to Shrek 2, if this one made the exact same thing compared to it, it would make opening weekend's not really doesn't really scale that well,
Uh-huh.
but
Because things work so differently now. Movies
Uh-huh.
back then didn't open nearly as big.
At least for domestic total, if it scaled the same as between Shrek 1 and Shrek 2, it would make 605.
Total?
Yeah, US total.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, worldwide of 1,500,000,000.
Uh-huh.
Scaled the
Yeah,
same as Shrek 2.
just shows how huge of a smash Shrek 2 was. That it took, yeah, it took over 10 years to be dethroned as the biggest um, animated movie in the U.S. That it stayed number one until Finding Dory. But yeah, just shows you what could happen. And again, either of those scenarios wouldn't surprise me. But just so many superhero movies are coming out now that yeah, that's why I didn't predict like a Shrek 2 type just shooting off into oblivion and just making insane numbers like Black Panther's making now. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the open weekend's so different. The opening weekend would be like 347 if it's scaled the same.
Which would be impossible.
Yeah.
But yeah, unlike the first Shrek, which I've always been confused about this, that the first Deadpool had an insane opening. It didn't open small and then slowly make more and more and more. It opened huge over a holiday weekend, so made even more, and then yeah, they didn't hold as well as other movies, but still, just yeah, that the success of that movie has always baffled me. Mainly because I'm not the biggest Deadpool fan to begin with of the movie. I see how the character could work fine. I wanted to like it, but everyone else loves it, and I'm like, eh.
See more potential than it showed.
Yeah. Just hoping for more.
Okay, so Solo, a Star Wars story. Still not quite. We're not sure about the Star Wars story subtitles on these.
I'm not a fan. I wish they would have called it something else. There was one rumored idea before Rogue One came out that I can't remember, but I liked other titles better than going with a Star Wars story. It sounds like a kid's book title to me, but oh well.
Yeah, oh well. So yeah, this was one I just kind of went for it. I wasn't quite sure what to guess, but opening weekend of 148 with a U.S. total of 410 and a worldwide of 900.
Okay. And so, yeah, opening going a little higher than you, because Rogue One in December made 155. That didn't have any, like, beloved characters, but it was riding off the success of Force Awakens, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's what helped boost that, if Star Wars, or Solo made a little less, but I'm going 160. And opening on Memorial Day might bring that number a little lower too. But it is Star Wars. Everyone goes to a Star Wars movie. Sure, Last Jedi had mixed reception with audiences. But, yeah. We'll see how that goes. But, U.S. total, 454. So, a little higher. And then a little lower. Like, just... What would you guess? 900 on the dot. 895. So very close. I'm going lower because for a lot of modern blockbusters, China has given them a big boost. Not Star Wars. China hates Star Wars.
Why?
Last Jedi barely made anything because they don't have that nostalgia factor that U.S. does.
And does that mean that Disney is having them play a little bit too much to nostalgia factor then, since it's basically making it inaccessible to people who don't have the nostalgia
I'd say so a little bit.
Factor.
Because, yeah, Force Awakens made a decent amount there. Rogue One made far less, even though it had a big name Chinese actor in it who was very good in Rogue One, Donnie Yen. But yeah. Then Last Jedi made next to nothing. So there's a chance with both Deadpool and Solo, because the first Deadpool didn't even open in China, that neither of those movies may open in China. I wouldn't be surprised if Solo just skipped it, because they don't really care, and they won't care about the Solo character like we do in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So it'll be interesting.
Next would be Ocean's 8, the all-female reboot of
Slash
Ocean's.
sequel?
It actually takes place in the universe.
Yeah. Because Sandra Bullock's supposed to be George Clooney's sister.
Really?
And there was a rumored Matt Damon cameo, which may or may not happen. We'll see. Oh, I hear a Daisy dog.
Daisy dog.
She's such a goofball.
Which, yeah, I'm not... I question the choice of the director choice.
Yeah, Gary Ross, who's best known for the first Hunger Games. I was not a fan of the first Hunger Games because of his direction. I thought Francis Lawrence, who directed Catching Fire and the other two after that, I thought he did a much better job. It felt like he knew what he was doing a lot more. But yeah.
Yeah, especially for taking over for a stylish director like Steven Soderbergh. How do you pronounce his name?
Either
Soderbergh.
way. I've heard it both ways. Soderbergh is the one
Anyway,
I've heard most.
he's a very stylish director. Gary Ross is not a stylish director.
I would have gone with a Guy Ritchie or something like that, or an up and coming female director or something, which would have given him more of like a Wonder Woman type buzz.
Mm-hmm.
But still, this movie's got a huge cast. And it does have an advantage of being like one of the big female targeted releases of the summer too.
And one more thing before we start. I don't know what he's like in real life, but just more Gary Ross trivia. During research, I completely forgot that he wrote and produced that animated Tale of Despero movie.
Ooh.
Did you know that?
Ooh.
No. That doesn't
No,
surprise me that much.
I did. I just forgot about it. I remember seeing that before the first Hunger Games.
The questionable Matthew Broderick casting as a very young child mouse. Matthew Broderick does not need to play a young child mouse.
It's beautiful.
It's like that Nostalgia Critic joke on his Lorax review with Iron Giant. Like if Seth Rogen voiced Hogarth or something. Hey, Dean! Watch this! It doesn't work. I liked that book. I thought the movie was the worst. Oh, does anyone even remember that? Oh. But, so yeah, another kind of strike against him, which may be a perfectly decent guy, but...
Yeah, I don't know what he's actually like.
I haven't been a fan of his direction style, or lack thereof, but yeah, so...
Okay,
back to the numbers.
Opening weekend of 42.
Okay. I was curious to see where you'd go with that. Because, yeah, that would make it the biggest opening of the Oceans franchise, which isn't saying much because adjusted for inflation. The previous ones would make a whole lot more. But...
U.S. total of 130.
Okay.
And worldwide of 320.
Okay. And I will be going a bit bigger than you, opening 52, because Sandra Bullock is a big draw to a lot of people.
Yeah, I had forgot looking at her list, seeing how big some of her movies were. I mean, I always knew that, I think. Just, yeah.
And with Wonder Woman coming out, like, kind of apples to oranges, but the idea of big franchise plays with an all-female cast, I figured that would be a big draw for a lot of people. A female director would have made it a whole lot bigger, given it a much more buzz. But yeah, aside from that, US 178, so kind of predicting a surprise hit.
Mm-hmm.
And then 336 worldwide, so not too far off from you. All right.
Now for the one we're probably anticipating.
I'd say most excited for, but man, I'm nervous about this one.
Nerves.
Because, yeah. So, I consider the original Incredibles my favorite film of all time. I love that movie. Just, oh man, it's so good. And the marketing has left me a little, it's not what I would have done, but it doesn't look horrible. Marketing isn't everything. The marketing for a lot of Pixar's releases, I think, have not lived up to the actual movie. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah. So what are we thinking?
I'm thinking opening weekend of 142.
Okay. Which would make it the biggest animated opening.
Which is kind of actually a safe bet because it's exactly what Finding Dory made adjusted for inflation already. So it's kind of like, whatever.
But it makes sense.
The U.S. total of 498, which I think is, adjusting for inflation, it's not the biggest Pixar movie, but still.
It would be the biggest.
Yeah. Not adjusted. And then a U.S. total, worldwide, of 1.35 billion. So like $1,035,000,000. 1.035.
Got it. Okay. So a little less than like Toy Story 3. But
what do you have?
All right. So opening, not too far off from you, 146. A bigger opening would not surprise me because I think the nostalgia factor is just going to drive this movie. That for ever since it came out, if there has been any Pixar movie that audiences have demanded a sequel to, it's been Incredibles. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if everyone and the grandmother goes to Incredibles on opening weekend. But yeah, so actually going a bit less than you, US, 463. Just because with the last few big sequels from Pixar, like Toy Story 3 and Finding Dory, I had figured like 500 million grosses, like something huge, and both of those fell short of that. And so I would have been tempted to get something like that for Incredibles, but I figured, the others haven't, so this one probably won't either. And then, yeah, that would be a little less than Finding Dory, because I figured it'll be less immediately kid-friendly than Dory, so that may knock it down a little bit. But, yeah, who knows? If it's anywhere as good as the first one, I would want this to go to infinity and beyond, to pardon the cheekiness there. But worldwide, 1,114,000,000, which would make it the biggest Pixar movie, but not quite the biggest anime movie. That's probably less than Minions, which it would bring me so much joy if it made more than Minions. But
Yeah, so much joy.
Coco was the first huge smash in China. So if this can somehow ride the Coco wave of buzz,
The Coco
plus
Train.
the Coco train, plus their love for the MCU movies, so they love superhero movies. If it could make Illumination level numbers in China, which all those movies have been huge there for whatever reason, then yeah, I would appreciate that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm very curious to see what you came up with for this next one, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. That the first one, Jurassic World, became the third biggest movie of all time. It beat the Avengers, it beat a lot of others. I thought the first one was okay. I did not think it was good enough to just transcend the levels of box office to these record-breaking numbers, the opening weekend record, stuff like that. And so I was glad that Force Awakens came out a few months after that and then obliterated everything. I thought that was a much better movie. But yeah. So what are you thinking about this one?
I'm thinking 165 opening.
Okay.
452 total. And 1,380,000,000 worldwide.
Okay. Which wouldn't surprise me at all. Where I'm sitting on this one, there are so many movies that I think will just be surefire hits. The Avengers, Deadpool, Solo, Incredibles, those are all going to make insane amounts of money. I'd be surprised if either of them don't. But the first Jurassic World had the advantage of being the first Jurassic Park movie in a long time, and it had that plot driving it of, hey, the park is actually open for the first time. That we haven't seen that in a Jurassic Park movie. And so I figured that was one of the big things that made that the huge hit that it was. And this one looks just like another Jurassic Park movie. Just, oh, they're on an island, dinosaurs go crazy. Yeah, you've got volcano stuff, but whatever. Just kind of looks like your average run-of-the-mill blockbuster to me from the trailers. But yeah, I'm thinking that it's not going to make anywhere near as much as the first one. So I'm going 155 opening. Anything bigger than that wouldn't surprise me. I'm just thinking it's not going to make as much as the first one, or anywhere close to as much, because just something just happened with the first one. Everything came together perfectly. I still don't really understand that. It's kind of a conundrum for me. But but yeah, 396 total, which may be a bit small, but yeah. And worldwide 1.178 billion.
Yeah.
So quite a steep drop from the first one while still being a big amount.
And anything else to say about that?
Nope. That's about it. Just yeah, it would just surprise me if this one, like, say, became the biggest movie of the summer, like the last one did. I don't see it making more than Solo or Incredibles, at least in the U.S. So,
yeah. All right. On to a smaller movie that we just put on there because, yeah, we're aware of it. the sequel to Sicario called Soldado.
Uh-huh. The official titles
Sicario 2 Soldado.
I'm not a fan of.
And yeah, it switched from Lionsgate to Sony.
Yeah.
So Sony made that title.
Uh-huh. Like, I had previously mentioned the Only the Brave thing on our 12 Strong review. That happened when that movie went from Lionsgate to Sony. That they switched the title around. I have not been a fan of their choices for, like, calling Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle. That didn't harm that movie at all, but I've noticed other people on the internet not being a fan of that either. It sounds kind of tacky to me. And then they keep adding, like, extra tagline titles to their movies that aren't official, but yet they are at the same time. Like, at the end of their Ghostbusters reboot, they have the title Ghostbusters Answer the Call, but then it's not actually on the poster like as the title. They just call that Ghostbusters. But so they have a knack of giving movies strange titles.
And I want to clarify, I don't think Soldado is a strange title.
No.
I think Sicario 2 Soldado is a strange title because it's a drama. You don't need to have the two. I don't think serious dramas should have twos.
No.
At all.
They should have just called this Soldado.
Yeah.
People see the trailers and they can figure it out for themselves that it's a sequel to Sicario, or in the trailer they tell you in the same world as Sicario or whatever.
Only comedies and animated films, I think, just should allow the two.
The two thing has befuddled me.
Yeah.
But
yeah, if it's a credible movie, either give it a subtitle or just call it Soldado, since it's a serious drama for adults. Only adults are going to be going to this. You don't need to call it two.
Uh-huh. It's a completely different thing, but The Dark Knight was not called Batman Begins 2 The Dark Knight. It was just called The Dark Knight.
Yeah, and it made money.
Yeah! Not saying Sicario is going to be the next Dark Knight in terms of box office, but just kind of showing what we're saying here.
Uh-huh.
But, anywho.
So yeah, opening weekend. Of course, it's not. I'm not expecting it to be a huge movie. We're just have it on the list to have it. At 16 million.
Okay.
52 total, and 95 worldwide.
Okay. And a little higher than you on all accounts. 21 openings, 68 US, and 121 worldwide. Again, not really sure if many people are gonna care, especially without Emily Blunt. That still confuses me why she's not back, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's all we have to say about that one. Let's move on to Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think first Ant-Man does have a lot of love, even though it didn't... It was still modest box office. It held well.
Very, very well. Probably one of the best weekend total multipliers of all the Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember like if it's the best or just one of the best, but yeah, it was one of the latest movies of that summer.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Ant-Man, people had fun with Ant-Man in Civil War, so I really think that...
To me, Ant-Man was one of the best things about Civil War. How do you make that happen? But, yeah.
So yeah, I'm thinking it's going to jump to 90 million opening.
Mm-hmm, okay.
With a 245 total and a 695 worldwide.
All right. So that would put it like just a little less than like Captain America Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Comparing sequel Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, that would not surprise me at all. I'm thinking maybe the first half of the summer is going to be so crowded that the second half is going to take a little bit of a hit. So yeah, a little smaller, 82 opening. Anything bigger would not surprise me at all because the trailers look fun.
Mm-hmm.
But 239 total, and then 720 worldwide.
720.
So a little higher than yours.
Yeah, I may have guessed a little low. Seeing that now, I'm like,
Who knows?
Anyway, yeah.
Uh-huh. One of these days, just the sheer amount of superhero movies is going to, yeah, implode or explode or something. But it hasn't happened so far, unless you're Justice League. But yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Oh, dang it. What happened? Was I not recording? So, hey, we're back. We had a little technical difficulty where I forgot to record us. So, we have already talked about the next two.
Yeah.
So we're just going back through them on record, since I didn't hit the record button.
Just no surprises among us.
Yeah.
But
Okay. So, Hotel Transylvania 3. Summer Vacation.
yeah, the last two opened in the September fall season, riding off the Halloween holiday, and this, yeah, I'm not sure if this one will work as well in the summer. We'll see. I mean, it's summer themed now, so.
Yeah. And I was guessing 41 opening with a 135 US total and 465 worldwide.
And I'm not too far behind with 38 opening, 133 US, so pretty darn close, and then a bit less than you with 382 worldwide. So a little bit of a drop off from at least the last one.
Okay.
But yeah, so on to Skyscraper.
Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson Die Hard, essentially.
On a skyscraper.
Which I consider this to be the biggest wild card of the summer. That yeah, we're on complete opposite ends of the spectrum here, so
Yeah, I saw the trailers and was kind of just like, I'm not really impressed too much, so I just guessed 24 opening with a 70 million domestic and 290 worldwide. Let's see what you got.
And then I saw the trailers. I personally wasn't that impressed with it. It didn't look like anything bad. It just looked like your standard action movie. But everyone else, like casual audiences, that's why you have standard action movies, because they do tend to enjoy those. And I just figured that Die Hard premise, mixed with The Rock, mixed with it being set in China, which will balloon its overseas total for sure. And then also that when I saw that The Rock's character was going to be disabled and be missing a leg, I thought, okay, there you go. That is going to be the heart of the movie that helps people really care about him and see him take down these bad guys, since he's got this personal obstacle against him. I just figured that would be something regular audiences would really be a fan of. So I'm going huge, saying that it could be the sleeper hit of the summer, with a 67 opening, a 224 US total, and 731 worldwide. Which, yeah, it could go either way easily. But it wouldn't surprise me if it ended up being a smash hit, especially, yeah, coming off of Jumanji that The Rock is hotter than ever now. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see if this helps out his presidential run.
See what ever comes of that, I
Oh,
guess,
man.
the next few years.
That's just crazy to think about. But
Um,
okay, so now, yeah, we're back to it. The ones we haven't discussed among ourselves yet.
and yeah, one that got moved while we were still making these lists.
With all the shuffling,
Yeah.
release date shuffling.
Well, actually, I was gonna actually both of these. I was gonna talk about the one that moved to December.
Right.
How many movies are in December now?
December's packed. Like in the span of 2 weeks, you've got Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, Aquaman. So 2 big-ish superhero movies going against each other. Mortal Engines could surprise. It could go either way. That trailer looked promising. Mary Poppins could be pretty big. Bumblebee opening the same day as Aquaman, and now the same day as those two. Alita Battle Angel, that I guess is based on an anime, got moved from summer to the same day as those 2 potential blockbusters. So it's packed, it's crowded. But
Yeah. So we originally had Alita on this list,
and
the scary eye CGI girl movie.
Ghost in the Shell meets Tim Burton's Big Eyes. Essentially.
Yeah.
I didn't. It's probably a good thing it moved out of summer because I wasn't expecting much.
Don't know what the best place for it would be, though.
Coming out the same day as 2 other big movies isn't a good idea either.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so it flew out of that release date, and then a day later, Equalizer II jumped in.
Mm-hmm.
The first sequel that Denzel Washington has ever done, if you believe that.
Really?
So I'm curious to see if that helps it any.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first one, I never got around to seeing the first one, but I think the
Yeah.
first one was liked well enough.
By audiences, at least.
Was a decent sized hit.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we thought we'd squeeze the second one in there since it was first one was a hit.
But yeah, no trailer or anything like that.
And not an
yet.
official poster yet either.
Okay.
So what's behind us is
What is behind this?
It's
something
beautiful.
just with Equalizer 2 on it.
Okay.
And so I was guessing an opening weekend of 36.
Okay.
The U.S. total of 103. And a worldwide of 218.
And that 103 total, that's pretty darn close to what the first one made, right?
Yeah, it's kind of just a little bit more than the first one.
Okay.
Well, I know the weekend was more than the first one.
Right.
I can't remember what the U.S. total was.
I just remembered it was like just over 100 something.
Okay. Yeah, I
So-
was playing it pretty safe with that one.
Yeah. I figured, don't know much about it now, that just sticking close to what the first one made.
No
is-
trailer, yeah, really.
So I'm going with an opening weekend of 36.
Oh, no.
A U.S. of, well, you went a little over the first one. I'm going a little under 97. And then worldwide 173.
Okay.
So a little less than you two.
We tied.
Okay, and then I'm curious to see what you put for Mission Impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yeah, most people are acting like it's one of the big ones to watch this summer. Well, we're on 6 right now.
Yeah, I think.
Can't help but think that there might be a little bit of audience fatigue. Just everyone else loved the trailer that dropped with the Super Bowl. I thought it was okay.
I actually have something to say about that.
Uh-huh.
That when I watched it the first time on the TV, I thought it was just okay. Then when I watched it, I thought I should probably, since I had just seen it once, I thought I
Yeah.
should watch it again for these predictions. When I watched it again, I was like, wow, that looks action packed. There was a lot of stunts in this trailer.
That kind of happened with me too. Yeah, the second time I watched it, I was more positive about it than the first time.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of underwhelmed that first time watching it, but yeah, the practical stunts do look very impressive, but it kind of gave me a little of been there, done that feel too, but it doesn't look bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just
so
it looked like another Mission Impossible movie. So we'll see what
yeah.
happens.
Unless all the stunts are literally in the trailer, I think that it looks like the most stunt heavy Mission Impossible movie. So I was thinking that'd probably give it a little bit of a boost, maybe, and I'm guessing a 62 opening, the 205 domestic total with a 700, just a flat 700 worldwide.
Okay. Now I'm going the opposite of you, thinking that yeah, we're on the sixth one by now. Even though yeah, the stunts do look impressive, I didn't think there was enough to really set it apart. Like, take for example, War of the Planet of the Apes last year. The trailers I thought looked really good, but apparently audiences thought, it's just another ape movie. It looks too similar to the last one, so it dropped off quite a bit from the last one. So I'm kind of going similar to that here with a 49 opening weekend, a 153 US gross, and 576 worldwide. That even if it is good, that yeah, lately we've had really good movies like Apes or War of the Apes, which may or may not be the best of the series, but was not the highest grossing one, was the lowest grossing one of the trilogy. So
And another possibility, this is the first Mission Impossible to have a
right,
returning director, so I'm hoping we don't have another Spectre scenario where it's just kind of the trailers look impressive, but the movie just ends up being kind of boring.
that's kind of what I am expecting personally. Though of course I wasn't quite on the Rogue Nation train that
Yeah.
everyone else was on. That yeah, that had the same like critical reaction and I believe audience reaction as Ghost Protocol, and I thought it was a good step or two down from Ghost Protocol. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As always, we'll see, I suppose.
Yep. And then
All right, to finish it up.
finish it all off is a little ditty we like to call Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
It's probably not a good. I probably shouldn't let the internet know that I'm familiar with that theme song. So yeah, I apologize, internet. I like Teen Titans Go, though I haven't seen a single episode of the original show. So yeah, I'm sure if I grew up with that I'd have more ill feelings toward this new incarnation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just it's stupid. There are way too many butt jokes, but it's pretty clever. It's more clever than people give it credit for. But yeah.
So, I wasn't. This is another one I wasn't really sure what to think of. How to give it.
Uh-huh.
Or yeah, that wasn't proper grammar, but you
How do
get
you
the
give
point.
it?
Yeah, because there's not much to go on. There's not really that many TV shows that don't really have that big of a fan base that get turned into a movie. Like you got your Simpsons and SpongeBob's that are huge.
Yeah, the biggest out there.
Yeah, for animated TV shows, and this one's just probably has some sort of fan base, but they've got a lot of haters too.
Uh-huh. It is apparently Cartoon Network's most popular show at the moment. I know I keep seeing things about how it just hogs their entire airspace. because they fill up 60% of their space with Teen Titans Go. And,
Seriously?
and that's one thing that ticks fans off because, yeah, Cartoon Network has a lot of popular shows at the moment, but Teen Titans drowns all of them out. And so, yeah, you've got the end of the fans of the original show that despise this show, but then you've got the actual target fan base, the kids that do like the show. Will they go out in droves to see the movie?
Or will it just... Movies that have made TV shows of themselves, like all the DreamWorks movies, like
Exactly.
the Penguins.
I was
and
going to
stuff.
get to that point too.
If they have a TV show that is still going,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not like it's huge like SpongeBob or The Simpsons, it usually doesn't end up making that much the movies that come out.
Mm-hmm. I always go to that as the main point as to why the last few DreamWorks sequels like dropped considerably from their previous ones, like Penguins and didn't at one point Kung Fu Panda have a show? It wasn't.
Probably.
It was pretty
Some sort of-
short-lived, but yeah, Kung Fu Panda 3 and How to Train Your Dragon, because it had like 2 or 3 different shows going on.
Still worried about the sequel to that one. If they still got shows going on when by the time it comes out, it's like I'm not sure if that'll hurt it or help.
And on
create awareness.
Netflix, where all you have to do is go to your account and you can watch as much Dragon material as you want to show your kids right there instead of taking them all the way to the theater.
Even though I love the movies, I just think the shows are a little bit lower.
Oh,
I'm obsessed with the quality of the movies, and the TV shows I can't watch because I like the quality of the movies too much.
Same here.
And, yeah. So, on to our predictions for Teen Titans.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm not guessing very big. I'm just guessing opening weekend of 8 million.
8.
With a US total of 22 and a worldwide of 38.
Okay. So I basically doubled all of your predictions, which still isn't that big either. But yeah, my main comparison was, well, my 2 main comparisons were the Lego Ninjago movie, which there's another that
TV show.
based on a TV show and didn't do that well, and My Little Pony, which has a huge fan base. That movie was not big at all. It wasn't a huge success or anything. So kind of in the middle of those with a 16 opening weekend, US 43 total, and worldwide 88.
Yeah, that is doubling.
But still pretty darn small.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with that.
Especially with Warner's animation team. Because I mean, they're better than some people out there. Like,
Yeah.
I can still consider them better than Sony and definitely better than Illumination. But
Oh,
it seems like they have trouble with turning a profit.
for some reason, yeah. Yeah, so that wraps up our predictions then.
For the summer.
Barring any significant changes, which may or may not happen.
Yeah, may move something still.
Something new might fly in there for some reason, but yeah. We'll see how it plays out, I guess.
Be back sometime in the summer. What's 2 months before August? June?
June, yeah.
Yeah, probably be beginning of June. We'll probably have another video out for the rest of the year.
It's weird to even think about talking about the end of the year already. I mean, it's March. How's it March? I don't know. But
March already.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks for sticking around and listening to us ramble for a little bit.
Yeah.
And let us know if you like these.
Yeah,
things.
we do enjoy doing them. I mean, it's
I,
fun.
I'd be doing this on my own anyway, so
We
might
were
as
doing it
well.
on our own for years.
Might as well hit that record button when we remember to. But
Yeah.
alrighty.
Okay.
See ya.
See you guys later.